Hey folks, welcome back to the Practical Microservices stream. I hope you had a wonderful between the last time, which I guess was Monday. That would make today Tuesday, because I know how to do days of the month. So, let's see here. I am having computer troubles. Why do I not see chat in the browser window? But you can't see, it's on the machine that's doing the streaming. So I'm just going to reload and... Oh, I see. Clever me had clicked some button I didn't mean to. Anyway, all right, let's just... Oh, yeah, let's see. Let's jump into what we're working on here. But first, I'm always going to do this. Meetup.com. And not that particular event, but we scheduled the next meetup. It is going to be Thursday of this week, so 2 days from now. And I'm going to present on snapshotting. So we actually went through that here on the stream over the past week and a half. Not exactly sure with all the time off for sickness that I had. But we are going to go through snapshotting, what it is, the problems it solves, and then how to use event-tied snapshot capabilities to introduce snapshotting into your project. And why it's important, of course, is like one of the concerns that people new to event sourcing have, myself included, was, wow, these projections, you just redo those every time. If you have a really long stream, isn't that going to be hard to like have performance implications? And there's a two-pronged answer to that. That's the spoiler for the meetup. The first is no particular event stream tends to have that many events in it, usually in a lot of designs. But then in the rare cases where you do have that, like the account component, which would have all of the transactions that ever happened with a given account, the snapshotting gives you a way to store a projection at a particular point and just resume from there. So that's what we are going to talk about on Thursday. We'll be down in Linden again at the LiveView Technologies office. I wear the hat and the coat for the two places that host the meetup, and one of them I work at. So, great, that's the meetup. That's what we're going to talk about. Let's jump back into our code projects here. And let's see. Past Ethan left this really helpful note of saying what we're working on. We've made the change to use a hash to store the retrieved minutes so that we can distinguish between having sent the request to device video component and having actually retrieved the video. And so now we just need to make the projection handle that. Our handler test. Wait, does the handler test? No, we stopped the handler test because we needed to do these lower level things first. I do not remember the state that this was in. Hang on a second. Maybe Past Ethan didn't leave that helpful of a note after all. So, let's see, test automated, handle, events initiated, and we are in the ignored test, and we removed the context where at least one of the RetrieveSents was already written. What happens if we run this? I think we added that part. Oh, wait, that's literally what we're looking at right here. Let's see. So we needed to get... No. Okay, so that is not the very next step. This is the very next step. Okay, mark the first 2 minutes as requested. So somehow we need to get what the first 2 minutes are. We could... I don't want to just duplicate the strings. I think that would be not so good. So we could say the start minutes that we care about are the composite start minutes. That will give us an array with each starting minute. And we could just take... Ooh, I forget how ranges work in Ruby. One's inclusive, one is not. So if we had 0, 1, and 2, and we took 0 to 1, what do we get? 0 and 1. And if we put the 3 dots... Okay, so we want the 2 dot version, which is exactly what we have. That'll grab the first 2. And then with those first two, we can go start minutes dot each do start minute like so. That will then let us do that, and that should mark the first 2 minutes as stored. And how would we test that? Well, we're just going to assume it works, and if it's wrong, the test will tell us. So I'm going to mark or delete that line. We're going to assume we have it where those first two are marked incomplete, but the other isn't. And then we will just go ahead and run our test. So Ruby test automated. I think that's actually like, no, it isn't. Test automated, handle, events, initiated, ignored. Oh, we got some errors. Oh, yes, because this version of Ruby requires that you use proper syntax when you're coding, which is kind of strange, but whatever, I guess. Composite retrieve sent. Does that not exist on the handler? That doesn't sound right. Sent retrieve. Oh no. I reverse the order of that. I want that to match the event's name, and it's retrieve sent. Yep, we gotta rename this. Let's not do it that way. Let's do it in the test first. That's annoying. Let us open the test automated composite. Even the file is named wrong. Okay, git move test automated composite sent retrieve should be test automated composite retrieve sent. Like so, and then test automated composite retrieve sent. That's what I love about being in an ensemble. Someone would have caught that real fast. And this should be retrieve sent. And you are also retrieve sent. And you are also retrieve sent. Like so. Now that test will fail because I haven't updated the code yet. Composite retrieve sent. No method error. That's what I expected. Then we can come here and put in the renaming right there. And that should run again. Great. Okay, so test automated, handle, events initiated, retrieve. No, ignored. We're on ignored right now, so let's go ahead and rerun that test. More than one matching message was written. Ah, yes, because the handler isn't idempotent yet. So that is literally the work that we are working on right now. So lib composite component handlers event. And we want the retrieved. If we're built, we're not going to do anything. No, we don't. We're doing the initiated handler. Here we go. So initiated for each start minute. What we're going to do is if composite.retrieve sent for that start minute. I guess that time I'm using the parentheses. Let's fix that just for consistency's sake. Then we could just return, and just for good measure, we will put in some sort of a log message. Let's see. So clip already requested. And we're not ignoring the whole event. So we're saying that the clip is ignored. And let's keep the event in there. So it would be the initiated message type. The ID is the composite ID, and then the start minute is the start minute in question. That's a good log message, I think. Put that in place. No, we don't want return. We want what is it called in Ruby? Ruby can you know, not Brave. I'm trying to use this one. The Ruby. The next. The each. It's continued in highlight, so it's probably not. Yes. Just to double check. Yep, it's next. So let's get rid of that and put in next. Because we don't, return would actually leave the whole method. We don't want to leave the method. We just want to move on to the next iteration. So let's go ahead and run that. There we go. We're getting one message written on the RetrieveSent, which is exactly what we wanted. So let's put this in another context because we also need to check to make sure we are writing the retrieve command still. So this is the RetrieveSent context. So, and then we want to make sure one of those was written. And you know what I'm going to do? This in. Put that inside of there because that's where we actually need it. And then we want to do another test that is RetrieveSent written to the composite stream, like so. And so written to stream equals writer dot written, and we pass in the retrieve sent. You know what? This is gonna fail because that needs to be here, like so. Okay. Oh, white space line. There you go. Now you're gone. Okay, so do, and this time we don't care about the first parameter. We just want the stream name that it was written to. And then from there, we would say that stream name is equal to composite. And then we should have our composite ID variable up there somewhere. Let's run that. So we should get that this test block has no assertions in it. Ha. Another spelling error. I blame the English language for that one. So test did not perform an assertion. Great. So then we just want to assert written to stream. RetrieveSent written to the composite stream. But it was not written to the composite stream. Oh, right. No. No, this one would be. Why was it not? Oh, because we're not writing it. Wait. No, RetrieveSent is right there. And we write it to the composite stream. Yes, why did it not? Where are we pulling that ID? Is this a case where we are using a different identifier? Composite ID we pull from the event. Are we using the same one for the control? We are. Assert written to stream. All right, fine. Let's see what our stream name that we have here is. Stream name is nil. Also nil. So is it saying it wasn't written? Well, then how did it pass? We've sent. Sure enough, it is there. Did I do the test block wrong? Where are we? We're in the composite component. Let's look at a previous test here and see if I did this the wrong way. The test automated handle what? Handling events. We were handling the initiated event, and the retrieve one. Pop up here. Writer.oneMessage. Great. Not the one I was after. written to stream writer written retrieve sent to stream name. Oh, I see. Yes, this is incorrect. So let's just do that real quick. Ah, there we go. Okay, so I just called the wrong method. That's fine. Well, no, I called the right method. I just, the block I passed was incorrect. It received the wrong parameters. Great. Just noticed something in that other test that I did not like. Test, no, not composite component. Test automated handle events, initiated retrieve. It looks like we're not checking the stream. Oh, that's right, because we check it right there in part of the initial. No, everything is fine. Everything is fine. That's great. So what do we actually care about this event having for its attributes? We care about it having what you can see in the diagram here. So the composite ID, the device ID, and the start minute. Those should match. So let's add those. So context attributes and test the composite ID and assert that the retrieve sent that we wrote, that its composite ID is equal to the composite ID where we have. I think that will have. Okay, so what's weird about this one is typically when we do these ignored tests, we are testing explicitly that nothing was written. And this one is a little bit different because we don't have that one-to-one mapping, one message input, one message output. We have this composite that we're building in this test. It has 3 clips that it includes in the final product. And in our example, if you can see up on line 12 right here, we have a composite entity where we have sent requests for 2 of the videos, but not the 3rd one. And I'm wondering if we could make this even more interesting by marking the first one retrieved, the second one requested, and the 3rd one nothing. I am going to make that change. But the point is, we still want to be idempotent here, but there are 3 non-atomic steps that we're dealing with. And so we saw our failure case before we added our idempotence check, where the one message call was saying, oh, you tried to write multiple events and you were expecting one. When we wrote the idempotence check, which is over here in our handler, right here where we say if composite retrieve sent for the start minute in question in our loop there. Once we added that code, we got rid of that one message error. So we are verifying that the handler is not duplicating its efforts to the best of its ability. It might still resend the extra occasional retrieve because writing the retrieve command and the corresponding retrieve sent can't be atomic because they're in different streams. Fine. But now what we're saying is, do we still write the other event? And you know what? Maybe we don't need to do all of these checks here because we already checked them in the other test. So I think that's what we will go with. Let's actually forget the attribute test. What sparked my mind was, like, typically when we're writing the ignored test, we don't write those attribute checks because what we're checking is that nothing was written. But for the one that was written, let's make sure it was written to the right place with all the right stuff. Maybe we don't even need all that right stuff because how could it be written to the wrong stream? So let's just keep it simple, actually, like that. Maybe drop a note in here that in a normal ignored test, we're explicitly checking that nothing was written, but in this case, the first two flips are already requested, but the third one is not. So we want to make sure that third flip still gets its message in place. However, we're not going to check all the attributes. We normally check on a written message because the retrieve test handle or checks. There we go. Note to self. I'm sure that at some future point, I'm going to come back through this file and be like, why didn't I check all that stuff? And I'll say it just like that too. So, all right, context then, we need to make sure that our retrieve command, the one and only, is recorded. So this is where we're actually verifying the idempotent nature of it. And normally I like to see tests fail before we see them pass. But the idempotence check, well, I guess we could do this. We'll put the idempotence check temporarily after when we write the retrieve command. That way we can see a failure and get confidence that we actually did something. So to do that, we need an instance of the writer. And so I am just going to open our test that already has that. So test automated handle event initiated retrieve. And well, there we go. Okay, so there's a little more screen real estate. Come down here and we need to make a new retrieve client. And so where did we put that? We have our initiated, our composite ID. It was right about there that we have it in the other one. Now that doesn't have parameters or anything that we need to worry about. And we get that. And then we need to set that on our handler. So right there. And then now with that in place down here, we can grab our reference to the client writer, which would be like so. And we just want to make sure that that retrieve was written like so. So retrieve equals client writer one message, do commanded stream name. Was it an instance of the right thing? Was it written to the correct stream name, which we don't actually have constructed here, but we'll get that. And we want to refute that it's nil. So let me open that file again. And that is why we had all of this stuff right here. That I was like, oh, we don't need that this time. We can just get rid of that, but no, we can't. Well, we could, it just won't work. We can do whatever the heck we want. Do I have the device ID up here? Do not. So we can get that device ID equals initiated dot device ID or fail. I believe that is something on there. Okay. That whole thing passed. I wanted to see an error there. So we said, was there only one message written that stream? That doesn't seem right. I would have expected to see more failures there. So finding.irb, why did that not fail? Oh, because there was only one instance written. Aha. So here's what we're going to do. We move that check right there, and we don't need the binding over here. So what's the problem? The check that I had in there was saying, hey, was it of this type and written to this stream? Well, each one of these goes to a different stream, so naturally it wouldn't catch it. So we need to just make sure that there were no other instances of this written. So now if our failure should be more than one message written, or however it is worded. More than one matching message was written. Fantastic. That's what we want to see. And now we can take our retrieve call there, drop it below the idempotence check, and now the test is beautiful. Okay. It's diff. What do we have? So we renamed those methods on the entity. Oh, I wanted to change this to have one of them be retrieved, just so we can get all that extra good coverage on the different states that it could be in, where it would be marked as, yes, we sent it. So I'm not going to look at the diff right now. So let's come back down here to partially requested, where we did this range thing. That's cool, but that's not actually what I want to do. So let's come here and RetrieveSent start minutes. We'll say that one has been retrieved. And this one we will say, I think it's retrieved in the past tense, and that will be the second one. Is this, what is this? That's the handler. So let's open lib, composite-component composite, RetrieveSent and retrieved. Indeed. So we should still run successfully. In fact, the whole test suite should run successfully. It did not. Boo. Well, we'll figure out what's up. The test automated composite retrieve. Test automated composite retrieve. You did not like that. Why did you not like it? It is marked sent. Undefined method sent retrieve. I see. I left off that. Nope, that wasn't it. Right, it's RetrieveSent. And let's spell retrieve correctly. Like so. There we go. Okay, test suite running. Let's have a look at our diff. So renamed the methods. Oh yeah, that loop there is not needed anymore. Down here, like that. Back to our diff. So we removed this item. That's what we just finished. So now we're going to get to the projection, but let's first look through the rest of the code. Then in our handler, we add our idempotence check there. What? Oh. Q when done. Okay. Okay, weird. That was like a second ago. That was all like shoved over to the left, which was not what I wanted to have. So there's our idempotence check. That's good. In our composite RetrieveSent, we renamed that and then did all the renaming of the method. And then I don't even know how that worked. Maybe it was spelled wrong in the component in the first place. That's fine. So we removed our little underscore there that prevents the context from running, because we do actually want to run the test. And then we set things up in the ignored case. We put our little note to ourselves. Looks good. So let's see, our initiated to retrieve handler is idempotent. Yes. That's what we did. So actually, not quite the projection next. We need to make the handler currency safe. And why am I doing all of that in this file? I don't think anything else needs to change in this file. So, you know, the right place to put this is outside of the code. Just drop it over here. Make an entry for Tuesday, November 15. That's today. And then let's see, bullet, to-do. Oh no. Boy, that's not what I intended. That was caps lock, not. All right, let's grab all of that text and just paste it into Notion here. It saw the hash and said, hey, we're going to make that a header, because that's what it does. Couldn't be surprised by that. So let's see, I don't even need that text anymore. Make the handler concurrency safe, modify projection, and remove. Oh, we just did that. So we can, you know what, if we erase it, we don't get that nice dopamine hit of seeing something that looks completed. So we'll just strike that out instead. And yeah, we did that little out of order. That's okay. All right, cool. Let's make the handler concurrency safe. And the way that we do that is, of course, with the expected version, but, oh, wait a second. Let's get rid of all that text since we don't need it anymore. And we can close that file. Lovely. We can open the handler file because this is where we're going to type more things, get this working. And oh, now here's an interesting thing. The expected version that we write with is going to change as we write these events. We'll probably just end up with a little counter, and that is fine. So, what do these tests normally look like? I believe they follow, if I'm remembering correctly, a typical concurrency safe one. Test automate. I really wish there were a way in NerdTree to open the file but have it appear in the rightmost split. I like to have the test over on the right because as I'm opening other files to work on it, like, oh, I always know the test is over on the right. Suppose I could put NerdTree over on the right. But then it would just be the other problem because it opens it next to itself. And anyway, that's not why you tuned in. So, handle device events. Retrieve. Excuse me, cough. Open that. And oh, I see. We are handling a retrieved event, and we're saying that they have all been retrieved, and now it's time to build. And so we're writing the build. Okay, so they look like the golden path test, if I'm not mistaken. There's fewer values that we care about. Yes, because we want to run the actually do all your work version of this, but we just want to check the expected version of the various writes. And I would love to do it where we only check one because I think it would make this one message stuff a little bit easier to work with because we don't want to use one message. We're expecting to see 3 RetrieveSents being written. We'll just have to do some looping. We need to make sure that for each message written that we wrote with the correct expected version. So what we're going to do is initiated retrieve. Let's have a look at this test real quick. And this one, we're only checking the first one. So we basically want to start with this test. So I'm going to copy you to expected versions. No, we'll just make it expected version in the singular. And here's our test. And we want expected version. So we'll need an initiated event. Don't care about any of the properties these are written to because we're checking that in the retrieve test. So we can get rid of all of you. We will not be checking the expected version on the commands because that doesn't make sense in this case. They're in that reservation pattern that we went over last week. Matters there, but that is not our case here. So let's go ahead and remove that. We're not checking the stream name that these are written to because the other test verifies that. We do need our composite ID so that we can have those match. Start minutes might come in handy, so I will comment those out. Why did you say this test should only write the retrieve for the first? That the note that we have it. Why would that be? No, we expected to write all of them, so let's just get rid of that. Hope that's not a Chesterton's fence minute. Okay, we're not doing that. We do need to add that to the store, and then we will run the handler and RetrieveSent. We're going to get all of those message rights. We expect there to have been 3 of them. And then for each with index, here's where we can check the expected version that they were written with. So let's open back up the expected version test from the retrieved event. And okay, that's where I was getting confused. So that's where that becomes an underscore, because when you call the written method, the first parameter is the stream name that it was written to, and the second is the expected version that you wrote it with. So what we want to do is for each of those, we need a version that they would have been written with. And so we do each with index. And so we could say expected version is going to equal version plus index. And we get rid of all of these attributes right here. And I'm not concerned with the retrieve commands for this test. So we can get rid of all of that. Written with expected version, like so. We want to make sure that we wrote 3 of them. So if that's the case, we did not end up using the start minutes here, but what we need is a version. So we'll say version equals controls version dot example, like so. And then when we add that to the store, we'll add it at a particular version. So that's our starting version. And so with each write of this, we'll need to increment that expected version by 1. We're not writing them all at once. And so when we look at each retrieved sent, the expected version we expect it to have been written with is whatever the version was plus our index. So for the first one, that will be +0, +1, +2, etc. So with that in place, we should now be able to run this test automated handle events initiated expected version. I think we should get 3 assertion failures because at line 38 that we're gonna hang on a sec. One more thing to do here before we run this. Got to change this to that's unfortunate. Expected version. We now have a named version, expected version, and here's what we're gonna do. We're like, Ethan, that will always be true. It is. That's why we're going to rename this. So we'll say written expected version there. Expected version is not doing that. So here's what we're going with. All right, now we should get 3 assertion failures. Great. 1, 2, 3, and they are all on line 38. Exactly what we expect. With that, we can go back to the handler. Where did you go, handler? Right there. And now when we fetch you, we need to get the version. We include the version. I don't think I will ever like that syntax right there. I get the reasons why it was changed, but the 2 colons right next to each other there just it looks strange. Whatever. You want to see like the silliest way to deal with that? No, that's even worse. We'll stick with this halfway between JSON, halfway to Ruby kind of a thing. So let's see here. And then yes, this is the tricky one here. So we need to do each with index again. So, and grab the index there. And then, is that? Will that work in the case where we're only writing one of them? I believe so, because we'll still iterate through them and the indices will still be the same. Because we have to do it that way to get the idempotence check to work. So, yes, the expected version that we're writing that with would be equal to version plus index. And honestly, I don't see that. I don't like inlining that. So let's explicitly call out that the expected version is version plus index. And then we can just call it like so. And now they should all have. Woohoo! Great. That handler I think is solid. Let's have a look at what we changed. we removed that text from the composite control because why were we storing it there? Don't know, but we were. So then in our handler, when we project, we're grabbing the version. When we loop over the start minutes, we are grabbing the index for each iteration as well, because we use that to construct the expected version that we're writing each event with. And then we added that expected version to the write call. We removed a test comment that made no sense to me whatsoever. And we have this extra file. So let's go ahead and add everything into a git diff hash, because if we have any like trailing white space or something, this will tell us. No, we don't. Okay, so in our test, every line needed, we need our event that we're handling. We grab its ID so that the control for the composite and the event have the same ID. That gives us our composite. We also need a version control. And I want to put another line of white space in there, because those two aren't really related to one another. And neither are those two. So let's do that. And there's that silly comment again. Let's just go ahead and get rid of it. And let's come back to our div. Skipping. What is that all about? Probably because I hit capital G. Wait. Oh, right. When you make a change, you have to add it once it's in the index. Okay, so we get an example of a version, instantiate our handler, we add the composite to the handler store at that version, and then we actuate the handler. With that actuated, we're going to grab its writer, and having this wrapped like in that additional context doesn't add anything to this particular test. So let's go ahead and remove all of that extra rough. And that will get that end right there. Oh my dear goodness. All right. Time-based control of your window sizes. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I think I set that up in like 2013. Anyway, okay, so what we're going to do then is check our RetrieveSent. Right, so give me all the messages that were written to you, writer, where the message is an instance of messages events RetrieveSent. We want to make sure there were 3 of those. We're not explicitly checking to see if any other messages were written. I don't know, whatever. That's fine. And then now for each of those that were written, we calculate what the expected version we think it should have been written with was. And then we ask the writer, hey, was this message written with this expected version? And we assert that that's true. And I want more white space there. There is more white space there. Why did it not show up? That's weird. And now it's there. Rendering thing, whatever. Okay, good. I like that. Git commit. We are going to do what? The initiated handler is concurrency safe. The initiated handler is concurrency safe. Great. Push that up. And then come over here and pat ourselves on the back for having done that. Now we're on to the projection. Fun. All right, so let us do what? Where are our projection tests? They're going to be a test, automated, projection, and versus I want to actually open that. So we have what? A file for each event type that we're projecting. And all we need to do is make sure that we can properly project a RetrieveSent event. I think that such a test will look something like the retrieved. Will look like, I mean, they're all kind of the same. Like, you just look at those real fast. There's not that much that changes between them. But I do want to use this one as a template. So we'll copy retrieved to retrieve sent because that is the message type that we're handling. Let's go ahead and open that. And so projection retrieve sent, and this would be retrieve sent, and thus we would need an example of that. And I believe we will fail right there because I don't think we have a control for this event type yet. So test automated projection retrieve sent. Indeed, there is no control for that. So we come up to the controls and we can just copy this retrieved one because that has served us so well so far. Retrieve sent. Great, that's in place. We will need to open the controls loader. And I don't know, let's put it in temporal order there, which would actually be there. And close that file. So now, I don't even know what the next error will be, but it shouldn't be there anymore. It is. Oh, right, because we didn't open that file and change this retrieve sent. Actually, no, I think the test will run because that is still effectively a retrieved event and the rest of the test is written that way as well. Oh, but the name didn't matter. Okay, that's fine. Can I just do real quick retrieved and replace that with retrieve sent? And now the test will pass? Yeah, okay, good. All right, so don't know yet what all we need there. And it wouldn't be a new one that we're starting from. We're starting from an initiated composite. We want to project that our retrieve sent worked. We would expect the composite ID to be set. And we would expect the retrieve sent for that start minute pass, which means we would need the start minute there. And there wouldn't be a URI to worry about. There would be a device ID though. So let's grab you, find friends there. Nope, that would have been composite. Actually, wait, no, the initiated will already have that. And in fact, we do want to get the composite ID off of there and make sure those match. There's no point checking that since it will already be set, I suppose. And that's the same for this. That will already be set by the control itself. We don't need the URI. And feeling comfortable. I think this is going to run, but just because the retrieved event has a lot of the same properties on it. No, it won't run because the projection is going to handle it with a different. Well, why did that run? That's not right. No. Oh, right, because retrieve sent works if it's a retrieve, if it has already been retrieved. Great. So let's just fix this. Retrieved times retrieve sent. We'll get it to fail. And retrieve sent. We need to build one of those. We'll need a composite ID, a device ID, and a start minute. We will not need a URI though. And that did not. Right, because we haven't added it to the projection yet. That's good. We wanted that failure. We didn't have to do anything shady to get it to fail. It's always wonderful. So let's come to, not the test, the projection. Here we go. And instead of retrieved, we want retrieve sent. Retrieve sent. Composite dot retrieve sent. Retrieve sent. And clear that out. Test passes. Boom. We did it. So see what we have here. So we added our control to the control loader. We added the control, which is building a RetrieveSent and setting the 3 properties that we have on there. Then in our projection, we made an apply block for the RetrieveSent message type. We set the ID and the RetrieveSent on there. And then in our projection test, we are just getting our example minute, making sure the composite has the same ID for reasons. And then we run the RetrieveSent through the projection along with the composite and make sure that RetrieveSent is true. Git commit projection applies sent. Push that up. Now we're going to run this and make sure that it works. To recap, we don't need to run the device video component to test this. The Docker daemon. Did I read it? Look at that. New extensions available in the marketplace with Docker Desktop 4.1. Neat. There we go. And there we go. So we've got our message store running. There we go. All right. No messages in there. So the changes that we just made over the past 2 days were to get it so that when we restart the component, we don't rewrite all those retrieve commands. Yes, it means we will have an additional retrieve sent for every, so we'll always write 2 messages, at least 2 messages per clip. But the trade-off is that we will stop writing a retrieve every time we restart, and an initiated event is within that 100 message limit by default. And I think that trade-off is worth it. Always write twice as many versus potentially writing a gazillion additional ones. So let us drop our command in there. And then we'll need to start the component. Prove anything to ourselves. Script start. If we pop over here, what do we see? Build initiated, retrieve sent, retrieve sent, retrieve sent. That's fantastic. Why don't we just run the other component just because we can? Script start. Requested, fetched and fetched, retrieved. Did something go wrong? Oh no, that's terrible. What went wrong here? Instance.retrievedminutes.content. Oh wow. Baud data. So where are we? Composite component consumers device video. Where did the error occur? In our snapshotting code? Because now it's just a hash. The only way to test the snapshotting code. No, that's not right. I was going to say the only way to test the snapshotting code is to actually run the component, but that is not true. That is a way to test it, but we could test that in an automated manner. Let's fix that. What happened? So let's see. Where is our composite? Right there. So when we do a snapshot, we have to write this transform module with 2 methods in it. One, given the raw data from the message store, produce for me an instance of you. And then the other one is, given an instance of you, produce for me the raw data that you want to write to the message store. Well, we were building a retrieved minutes array, but the whole point of the changes we made over the past couple of days was to turn that into just a regular old hash. So now that it is just a regular old hash, and we know that it's just an array of symbols, we can rely on the more automated means to deal with this, which would be to just delete that and delete that. However, I am embarrassed that this wasn't caught by an automated test here. So what does the raw data look like? I want to see what one of those is. Let's go binding.irb right there. And this was the line where we actually failed. We know what that looks like. So let's go ahead and just write a test around that. So down here in our composite thing here, we can do a transform folder and we want to test our raw data method. So how are we doing on time? 5 minutes. Ooh. Test automated. Get you. Let's do that and then test automated composite transform raw data. So get relative. We want to get test bench, which would be, well, I guess not test bench, but automated init. So just now Ruby test automated composite transform. You're writing correctly. Great. So context is our composite class. Within there, we are looking at the transform module, and within that, we are looking at the raw data method right now. So to do that, we would need an instance of a composite. So we would go to our controls, get a composite example, and we could just say, hey, the raw data is equal to composite transform dot raw data and pass it our instance there. And this is where we would start checking things. So basically it's like, just want to make sure that didn't fail. So it should fail right now, right? No method error. Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. That is failure that we would expect. And the right way to do this is, I believe, let's get rid of that line. Passes. Now the question is, do we go looking at all of the individual attributes? Because that would be tested by the schema gem, making sure that that works properly. Or the messaging, whatever. The schema data structure probably tests that this method works correctly. So with that being the case, I don't feel the need to test that thing out. It would be worthwhile to test this though, because that is something of our own creation. So we're just going to test the source URIs there. And what would we expect these to be? We would assert that the raw data at source URIs is equal to what? Like, I don't want to just grab source URIs.content out of there, but is there any other way to compare those? I don't even know if it works. Let's composite.source URIs. Not even sure if equals does what I expect it to there. They are literally pointing to the same thing. Yeah, that works. That actually works for me. So let's stick with that. And now we have less than a minute. Okay, so let's make note to self. We did the projection modification, so that is great. And where we pick up is transform tests in the entity and what happened when we switched the retrieved minutes to a hash. We didn't update the transform module. And I don't know, I'm really particular about this. I would like that to read like code because that's what it is. So when we ran the component, we got an error that was an error. This seemed to let to RCF do not have a test. Catch that. So we're writing tests. The next one is the instance. That's, I'm curious. How do we get a raw data example to pass into method? Is that a control? Tune in next time to find out. Yeah, tune in next time to find out. There was totally something I forgot that I wanted to start saying at the end of these streams, and I don't remember what it is. It's terrible. Well, I'm not going to remember here in the next 5 minutes, so have a lovely day. See you later. Happy coding.